Hello, it's Blue Orange 22. So just a short video to recognize Veterans Day. I'm pretty sure I did one this time last year as well. Um, I guess Veterans Day is sort of an important uh, holiday is the wrong word, but kind of a men's rights day, if that makes sense. Like, because obviously the draft and conscription is a major issue for men's rights activists, and the Veterans Day obviously is linked to the draft and to conscription. I'll put a link that I put last year that every time it comes around, I think about this. In the Vietnam War, right, 61% of US soldiers who were killed were under the age of 21. That doesn't mean 21 or younger, that means 20 or younger. 61% were 18, 19, 20 years old. And thousands of them were drafted, sent against their will. I mean, just imagine dying at that age, basically in college. And I feel like, and first of all, I don't blame feminists for the draft at all in Vietnam. I do for World War One with the White Feather movement in the UK, but not for Vietnam. And I'm not saying I only blame feminists for the draft in World War One, but they were a part of the equation. But I always feel like when you talk about gender equality and you read feminist literature in the 70s about how women are oppressed and disadvantaged, it's not that they're not saying things that are necessarily untrue, but it's like we completely leave out, oh yeah, but your peers, right? Like while you were at college, your male friends weren't because they were getting killed as teenagers. I always feel like that part of the equation, women's equality in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, yeah, but a lot of those men had to either go through the draft or never got to live at all. Like you can't. How do we leave that disadvantage out of the equation? If you want to talk about gender equality and privilege and oppression, I don't see how you can leave that part out of it. And there's always people that say, "Oh, but the people in power are still men." Most of the politicians who supported the Vietnam War were men. Great, but who is that fact going to resurrect? No one. And the men's rights view of male disposability, I think, is kind of reflected by years, centuries, millennia of warfare and conscription. And it was just the norm for most of human history, if you were a man, to just expect at some point you will be told that you're going to be joining the army and going to war because your king or your emperor or whatever it is, wants a new country or wants whatever. And it was just normal, you know. And I'm not denying that. I'm not denying that. Of course, women are victims in war. Absolutely, civilian victims. I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying there is definitely a gendered nature to conscription, both historically and today. And there are still a lot of countries that have active conscription, mandatory military service for males only, that you will go to prison for if you don't do. And even countries that are so-called feminist or liberal or equal countries have male-only conscription, such as Austria, such as Finland, such as such as Switzerland. But actually, Sweden until just 11 years ago, believe it or not. Austria and Finland are countries you sometimes see on like top five, top 10 most gender equal. Could you imagine if only girls were forced to join the military or forced to join anything against their will for 12 months and boys didn't? And the people making the rankings of the most equal countries just completely left that fact out of the equation, which is what is happening now. So, anyway, I put my video to last year down below as well. I guess this is just kind of, if you're going to talk about men's rights, you kind of have to acknowledge, Veterans Day. So, which of course I do. And yeah, thank you very much.